Attention bowlers, we are going to get started. From Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire, welcome back to the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour. This is a doubleheader today. This is Dominick Paladino versus Paul Metivier and Jordan Britton versus Sarah Wright. Good as always to have you along with us. I'm Steve Kelly on the call for the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour and 3-ball spare conglomerate. This match format is 5 strings with 14 points on offer. 2 points per string, 4 for total pinfall with ties splitting down the center. It's good as always to have you along with us. Originally live streamed on Monday, January 20th, 2025, and available for rewatching anytime upon the conclusion of this match. And we have Dominick Paladino starting out on the left and Sarah Wright on the right. And neither bowler is on a mark. They are not bowling head-to-head tonight. And Sarah Wright will open on her second ball with a 7-10 split. Excuse me, not Dominick Paladino, Jordan Britton. Excuse me. We're off to a great start. Sarah Wright opens with a 9 box. Sarah Wright is on the right, and Jordan Britton opens with a 10 box on the left. Bowlers are always fun to work with. Sorry, I'm just getting my scoreboard set as soon as possible. It's one of those things where you never quite know who's going to start on what side until it happens. That's Sarah Wright on the right and Jordan Britton on the left. Sarah Wright's second frame on the head pin. She drops 7. Right side triangle. 5-6-3. Jordan Britton is on the head pin. It looks like it's going to be a split of the 5 and the 10. Sarah Wright on the 5-6-3. Jordan Britton on the 5-10. Sarah Wright's just off the object pin, takes the 6, leaves the 5 and the 3. Jordan Britton misses the object pin to the 5 and leaves the 5-10. Sarah Wright will take a 9 box. Jordan Britton will take 8. All right, getting settled in here. Good as always to have you along with us. Again, live streamed on Monday, January 20th, 2025, and available for rewatching anytime upon the conclusion of this match. For those interested, I'd like to highlight a few things. First, this broadcast should have subtitles and live captioning enabled, so if you enjoy this feature, please feel free to enable it in the controls below. That's Sarah Wright with a split. Jordan Britton not on the head pin. And Sarah Wright, an extra pin even falling. If you're watching this broadcast on YouTube, the transcript feature will likely also be available. Next, throughout the match, I'll describe the play-by-play action and provide up-to-the-minute scoring to the best of my ability. Keep an eye on the unofficial scoreboard on your screen, and we'll pause for that because Sarah Wright just threw a spare on a very difficult split. Anyways, yes, keep an eye on the unofficial scoreboard on your screen. I emphasize unofficial. Is there for the benefit of the broadcast. The bowlers are maintaining the official book records separately from myself. Scores may be subject to review or correction or catching up or whatever it ends up being. I may occasionally pause to verify scores if things seem out of sync. I appreciate your patience when that happens. If you're watching this on YouTube, later on, there may be times where I may include notes in the description if I catch scoring errors in post-production, so please be on the lookout for those if any of those ever come up. Sarah Wright was on the head pin, leaves the 1-8-9 for a 7 fill under spin. That's Jordan Britton with an early strike. Sarah Wright on the 1-8-9. Just on the object, leaves the 9. I'm also going to do my best to add chapters to the YouTube description so you can choose to jump to certain points in the games if that is your preference. Sarah Wright will take a 9 after all is said and done there. Talking about Sarah Wright with a season record of 67-73 with 10 matches played. That's a .92 win-loss ratio. At home, she's 33-23 with 4 matches played. Away, she's 34-50 with 6 matches played. And that's Sarah Wright with a spread eagle minus the 3 and a split. Jordan Britton on the double strike. He's on the head pin. Pins are still mixing, but it's 6 so far in the fill. Piece of wood rolling out of play. Wright on the left side, hoping 3 will take 2. Unfortunately, 3 doesn't take 2. 3 takes 3. She leaves the 6 and the 10. Jordan Britton's next ball will complete the strike fill. Candlepin bowling is a sport largely specific to New England and Eastern Canada, and the rules are slightly different from 10-pin. That's a 9 on Jordan Britton's strike fill, and Sarah Wright will take a 10 box to clean up. Jordan Britton will take 9, and that will be the half for these two bowlers. So we are going to switch over to scores so you can take a look. Jordan Britton at 56 after 5, Sarah Wright 54 after 5. I will double check because down there it looks like there is a bit of a discrepancy in the scores, so I will do a brief correction in just a moment. There appears to be an issue with the automatic scoring system down there, so they're doing a quick sensor check and everything at the desk, off screen, off frame. So that's just what we're pausing, and I'm also just double checking the scores. Now, it would appear that Sarah Wright had a 10, but it has an 8 down there, so I'm going to match what she has down there. TBD on if that ends up being corrected at the end of the game. So for now, her 5th box is currently in there as an 8 on the automatic score system. We're currently just pausing for some lane maintenance at the moment, so appreciate your patience on that, as I myself am also in suspense as to what the heck is going on.
Sarah have a 10 in the 5th? Because it says she has an 8 up there. I thought it was a 10.
Like she said, the table has to get out of the walk there. Fire.
I gotta move literally everything, dude. That can't happen.
Okay. You don't have to go all the way in.
Okay, a couple things going on here, so I'm going to pause for 1 moment. We'll be right back. All right, we had a brief delay, a couple of things going on where we had to adjust a few things, but we've got Dominick Paladino and Paul Metivier now. That's Paul Metivier with a 9-drop on the head pin. Dominick Paladino on the head pin. And that's a spare for Paul Metivier, 10 after 1 and a fill. And the same for Dom. They're going 1 for 1 on the spares. Spare for Dom, spare for Paul Metivier. Let's talk about Paul Metivier. We'll maybe focus on the bowlers on the right. Paul Metivier in the black shirt. He has a season record of 53-45 with 7 matches played, a home record of 16-26, and away record of 37-19, and that's a 7 on Paul's fill. And it's a split for Dominick Paladino. And a 7 fill as well. Bowlers, again, making my job real easy with the 7 fills. Capping the wood, Paul Metivier will take the 3 and only the 3. Dom will kick one pin out of play. Paul Metivier will clean up for a 10 box. 27 after 2. 9 box for Dom, 26 after 2. Paul Metivier presently has a season average of 108.45, a home average of 103.7, and a away average of 113.2. High single 144, and a high series of 597. Paul Metivier has 25 strikes, 73 spares, 86 tens for the season. Perfect box percentage of 52. That's a 7 drop and a split for Paul Metivier. And a half Worcester for Dominick Paladino, punching out the 2 and the 8. Half Worcesters when you punch out the 2 and the 8, or the 3 and the 9. And Paul Metivier just kicks the 7, and only the 7. Dominick on the 3, and only the 3. Metivier will take 1 and leave 1 for 9. 36 after 3. And I believe that will be a fouled 6 box for Dominick Paladino. 32 after 3, I believe, is going to be the corrected 3rd box for Dominick Paladino, and 36 after 3 for Paul Metivier is confirmed. And Sarah Wright did indeed have 54 after 5 after they checked and confirmed. That's Paul Metivier off to the left of the headpin. Paladino. He's on the headpin and drops 6, a really awkward accordion. Not technically a split, but not a very good leave. Paul Metivier will punch the center and leave the 3, the 4, the 7, and the 10. Dom Paladino on the center triangle. Yes, the center triangle, but leaves the 6. Metivier will take a 6. Paladino will take a 9. 41 after 4 for Paladino. 42 after 4 for Paul Metivier. Here at Leda Lanes in New Hampshire. That's Paul Metivier to the left of the headpin. Dom not on the headpin, but pin's still mixing, potentially. 7 drop. And Metivier sails right through the same void where he sent the first ball. Dominick Paladino will punch the center pin, leaving the 4 and the 7. It's a 7 for Metivier and 9 for Paladino. And that is the half. 50 after 5 for Dominick Paladino, 49 after 5 for Paul Metivier. Meanwhile, Jordan Britton 56 after 5 with 1 strike. Sarah Wright with 1 spare, 54 after 5. Dominick Paladino and say hello to Jordan Britton now. Britton with a nice 9 drop, leaving the 5 pin, the king pin. And Sarah Wright's off to the right, half Worcester plus. Jordan Britton's single pin spare opportunity, and he gets it. He gets the kick. The light tap. That's all you need for a spare. That's Jordan Britton with 66 and a fill after 6. Sarah Wright on the headpin. Takes the left half, leaves the 6 and the 10. For a 10 box. Jordan Britton is 4 for 6 on the headpin with 1 split. Sarah Wright is 3 for 6 on the headpin with 3 splits. She'll take 8. That's 62 after 6. Talking about Jordan Britton, he has a season record of 88-52 with 10 matches played. That's a 1.69 win-loss ratio. At home at Academy Lanes, he's 48-36. Away on the road, he's 40-16. And on the and that's familiar. That's a 9 drop, and he leaves the kingpin. That's a 9 fill on Jordan Britton's spare. 75 after 6 with that fill. Sarah Wright is just off, but drops 7, leaves 1, 2, 4. Britton. It's a repeat of the previous box. A spare for Britton, 85-7 and a bonus. And Sarah Wright with the recovery second ball for the spare. She almost gets the 4, and she doesn't, so she's going to be playing for a 10 box now. Sarah Wright. She fires on the 4. The 4 goes unharmed. 71 after 7 for Sarah Wright, 85 and a bonus, and 7 for Jordan Britton. And those scores are confirmed as of right now. Britton headpin shot, but a split this time. 5-pin is not involved. It's 93 for Britton. Sarah Wright on the headpin will be a strike. Now she's got the 5-pin kingpin 9 drop. Jordan Britton on the 7-10 with wood to the right of the 7-pin. Jordan Britton fires. Takes the 7. That's about as much as he could have done there. Sarah Wright's on the 5-pin for a spare. Single pin. All over it, as Dominick says. Sarah Wright's at 81 and a bonus after 8. Jordan Britton with a 9 box is at 102 in 8. Jordan Britton having a great first game. Paul Metivier, 3 headpin shots and 1 split. Same for Dominick Paladino. Jordan Britton leading the charge, 6 for 8 on the headpin with 2 splits. Standout stat. Jordan Britton fires. Headpin, 6 drop, 7 drop, 8 drop. 6-10. Sarah Wright's working on a spare, and it's going to be a 3 fill. Looking at that wood down there, it has turned, so it's flat, parallel to the area where the deck meets the lumber. And Jordan Britton's all over it for another spare, his 4th mark of the game for 112 and a bonus and 9. That's Jordan Britton. Sarah Wright is working on the 15378 for a 10 box. Sarah Wright will take 2, leaving 3, and that means it's a 7 box. 91 and 9 for Sarah Wright, and 112 and a bonus for Jordan Britton. That is confirmed. Here at the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour on this Monday night bowling. Jordan Britton, animated reaction to that miss on the headpin. That's a 6 drop for Jordan Britton. 1-2-4-7. Sarah Wright on the 1-2 pocket, dropping 6, dropping 7, dropping 8. 3-9 for Sarah Wright. And Britton will run down those left side 4 horsemen for 128 in 10 and a bonus. Sarah Wright fires on the 3-9. Oh, and the 3 does a dance in front of the 9, but it decides not to take it. But oh, I thought there was going to be a piece of wood rolling into it. Collides with another piece of wood and stops the momentum. So Jordan Britton at 128 and a bonus in the first game. Sarah Wright, potential 101. And it will be a 101 for Sarah Wright. And Jordan Britton is currently at 128 and a bonus. A staggering 128 and a bonus with an incredible amount of marks. 5 marks, 1 strike, 4 spares. This is a bonus ball for Jordan Britton. Head pin, 7 fill, 135 for Mr. Britton. He'll handily take the first game. 135 for Jordan Britton. 5 marks. Sarah Wright, 2 mark 101. A lead of 34 early on in the match after 1 game of 5. Paladino on the right lane. And Metivier on the left. Metivier with a spread eagle split. Paladino's just off to the left of the head pin. Second ball sails into the void, unfortunately. Paul Metivier on the 4-pin spread eagle. And he punches the 2, leaves everything else. Paladino misses twice. That's a 4-box for Paladino. And a 6-box for Paul Metivier. Both bowlers frustrated with the results of their boxes. JJ Charigny laughing in the background. We have a friendly little chat on Facebook between myself, Dom, Paul, and JJ, and it's just we just do friendly trash talk all day to each other, and so this is all just really hilarious as context. Dom punches the 10, and Paul drops 6. Paul's got the 7-8-4-2. Dom's got everything but the 10. He's on the head pin, leaves the 3-6. That'll be a spare for Paul Metivier, cleaning up that 6 drop. Paladino on the 3-6 for a 10 box. He'll take that 10 box. Paladino, 64 after 7 confirmed, and 65 and a ball after 7 confirmed for Paul Metivier. Dominick Paladino will lead off. Paladino's on the head pin with a split 5 drop, spread eagle minus the 3. Metivier on a spare fill. It's an 8 fill. Long story short. 5-10. Paladino on the broken eagle leaves the 4 and the 10. Piece of wood out of play. We're going to have to pause for lane maintenance to remove that piece of wood out of bounds. And Paul Metivier misses the 5 and the 10 with wood entirely. Complete whiff. Talking about Dominick Paladino with a season record of 74 and 38, 8 matches played. Home record of 32 and 24. 4 matches played at home, 4 matches away. When he's away, Dominick Paladino is 42 and 14. He has a 3.0 winning ratio when he's away in particular. And that will be an 8-box for Dominick Paladino. And a 9-box for Paul Metivier. Missed opportunity for Paul Metivier in particular that time. 2 boxes to go. Dominick Paladino has 4 headpin shots for 8 with 2 splits. Paul Metivier 6 for 8 on the headpin with 3 splits. Dominick Paladino to the right of the headpin. 6 drop, 1, 2, 7, 10. Metivier on the headpin leaves the 4 and the 7. See what Dominick Paladino can do here. Will he get the spare? Will he get the kick? He won't get the 10 pin. Metivier on the 4-7. It goes. That's a spare for Paul Metivier. Another spare. That'll be a fouled 9 for Dominick Paladino. Let's take a look at the spare for Paul Metivier. Watch him on the left. He's going to be on the 4-7, and he's just going to take those 2 pins out to lunch, and they go. And that's how it goes. Paul Metivier will fire first. On the head pin. Nearly a strike, but it is a split and an 8 on his fill. Or not a fill. Excuse me. 5 fill for Paul Metivier. 6 fill, actually. Late falling pin. Dom nearly gets the spare with a piece of wood that rolls just behind the 4 pin. Paul Metivier takes a spare. Another spare on that pile of 4. Dom will finish with a 9 for 90 as an opening game. And Paul Metivier is currently at 108 and a bonus in the 10th. 4 marks, 4 spares. on the head pin, and it's going to be a 4 fill for Mr. Metivier. So we are at the end of the first game in regulation, 90-112, Paladino to Metivier. Metivier victorious over Paladino by 22. Jordan Britton victorious over Sarah Wright, 135-101 by 34 pins. That's the story of the first game. We're going to now move on to the second game here on the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour. I'm Steve Kelly in the call, and we're going to resume with Sarah Wright on the right. Always fun to say. Jordan Britton on the left. Sarah Wright with a 6-drop leading off. Bowlers bowling head-to-head tonight. Jordan Britton on the 7-pin. He's got the yips or something on that opening ball. Something went wildly off course. Sarah Wright's on the 1-2-7-8. Jordan Britton connects with the head pin. Leaves the 3-6-10. Sarah Wright on the 1-2-7-8. And will she get the kick down? She'll get the kick. A nice cleanup in a 10 box for Sarah Wright. Jordan Britton will start out with a 9. We have Sarah Wright in the black shirt. Sarah Wright, again, season record 67-73, season average 102.3, home average 102.3, away average 102.3. High single 131, high series 559. Sarah Wright opens up on the head pin. 7-drop split for Sarah Wright to start out. 5-drop for Britton. 4 horsemen left in the 9. This will be Sarah Wright on the 5-9-7. No wood. And she gets the spare. Jordan Britton almost follows up. So Sarah Wright is a spare. Jordan Britton will take a 9. Let's get the replay on that. So this is Sarah Wright again on the 5-9-7. Take a look at this. This is fantastic. No wood assisting that spare for Sarah Wright. This is Sarah Wright filling a spare. Head pin, 8 fill. Jordan Britton's off the left, leaves a 6-pack. Check his ID. It's been 6 pins left on the deck, left side or right side. And Sarah Wright will just miss the 4 and the 8. And on the 6-pack, Jordan Britton leaves the 5 and the 10. Right, we'll take a 9. And so will Jordan Britton. 27 after 3 for Britton, 37 after 3 for Sarah Wright. Sarah Wright has 9 strikes, 93 spares, and 127 tens. For the season, her perfect box percentage is 46. She has 5,115 seasonal total pins. Sarah Wright is number 3 in Class C North Division 3 of the ACST and number 10 in the wild card standings overall. Number 10 seed, Sarah Wright. 7-drop, Sarah Wright. 8-drop, actually. 5-8, late falling pin. Jordan Britton to the right of the head pin, but it gets a split. Not on the head pin, with a split, 4-10. Sarah Wright just off of the 8. She connects with the 5. Jordan Britton has the 7-10 split. No wood to assist him. Sails through the goalposts. No mark. Both bowlers shooting for 10 boxes. Sarah Wright will start first. 10 for Sarah Wright. Britton will take a rough 8 box. So 35 after 4 for Britton, 47 after 4 for Wright. That is confirmed right now. Britton is currently 7 for 14 on the head pin with 3 splits. That's a 50% head pin shot rate. Sarah Wright is 8 head pin shots, slightly over 50%. Sarah Wright and Jordan Britton with a strike. And he says, time to sit down. Strike for Jordan Britton. Sarah Wright, 7-10, 5-6, 3-9. She'll take the 10 and leave everything else. And after all said and done, that's strike for Britton and 8 box for Wright. Take a look at that strike for Jordan Britton. Look at that. That's how he pops them. That was Jordan Britton's strike. So 45 and a bonus for Britton, 55 and a bonus for Sarah Wright. We move on to Paul Metivier and Dominick Paladino next. It's a half Worcester for Paul Metivier. Paladino drops 6. Paul Metivier leaves the 1-4-7, 6-10. Paladino leaves the 4-6-3-10. 6-10 got slid off its spot a little bit even. Metivier will clean up for an 8 box. Paladino takes 9. Paul Metivier with a 3,820 seasonal total pins. He's number 3 in B North Division 4. Number 10 in B North overall. 14th high class average at 108.45. That's Paul Metivier. 8 drop for Paul Metivier. Leaves the 4-8. Paladino with a late falling 8 pin, or 8 drop, 4-6. 4-8 for Metivier. That's the spare for Paul Metivier. Goes slow, nice and easy. Paladino, the ball almost comes back for a spare. But it doesn't quite happen. Paladino takes 9. Let's look at Paul Metivier's spare again. Look at how lightly he kicks down the 4. So lightly. That's what happens. And we're still resetting and just clearing a couple of lanes. Or a couple of balls out of the channel. Paul Metivier on a spare and a spare fill. He fires. Headpin shot, could be a slow-moving strike, but the 4-pin stays up. Seven drop and a split for Dominick Paladino, 7-10-3. Paul Metivier will take the spare. Oh, and Dominick wasn't for lack of trying, but the 7-pin doesn't go. Piece of wood rolls away. Metivier 37 and a bonus after 3. Paladino for the 10 box on the 7-pin. It'll be a 10 box. Here's Paul Metivier once again. And there it goes. He was right on it. Paul Metivier filling a spare. It'll be 5. Paladino with yet another split. 7-10-6. Metivier 1-3-6-9-10 that he's shooting at. And it goes. That's a third spare for Paul Metivier. 52 and a bonus after 4 for Paul. Dominick takes 2, leaves 1. No mark. Paul will take a nice 10. Nudges it down. Here's Paul Metivier once again on that 5-drop spare. With the sleeper pin in the back. Look at that go. It's Paul Metivier with a 6-drop. 6-drop for Paladino as well. 1, 2, 4, 7. Paul Metivier, will he get the spare? That's another spare for Paul Metivier. 4 in a row. Paul Metivier showing us how to get spares. And Paladino. Take a 10. That's the half. Look at this spare one more time. 68 and a bonus for Metivier. 48 after 5 for Paladino. And that was the replay. Check that out. So Paul Metivier with a 4-mark runaway right now. 68-48. Difference of 20 and. So we'll see what happens. Jordan Britton and Sarah Wright, meanwhile, are returning to the approaches. That's Jordan Britton with a strike and a double strike for Jordan Britton. Sarah Wright is off to the left. 3 down, 7 up. Center diamond and the right side back candlepin corner for Sarah Wright for a spare. She's right on it, but a little bit too full, leaves the 2 and the 6. That'll be a 9-box for Sarah Wright. So here's Jordan Britton's strike. That reaction from Jordan Britton says it all. And here he is again to fill that double strike. For the triple. Nearly a triple strike for Jordan Britton, drops 9. Sarah Wright with a 6-pack. Check her ID. Jordan Britton's all over it. Spare on strike, 94 and 7. Sarah Wright leaves the 1 and the 5. $10 for Sarah Wright on the 1-5 full. That puts Sarah Wright at 74 after 7. So Jordan Britton on a double strike and then a spare on strike. He threw a 2.9. He almost had a triple. Jordan Britton drops 5, leaves the bucket of 5, fills with 5, and he was on the head pin. Sarah Wright now on the 4. Or no, Jordan Britton 3, 5, 6, 9, 10. Sarah Wright off the right of the head pin. 1, 2, 4, 8, 6, 10. Jordan Britton wants to take out the bucket, leaves the 3 because he was just off target, not on the object pin. Sarah Wright's on the 4, 6, 2, 1, 8, 10. She fires. And will she take it? Oh, the 6 just doesn't go. I thought the 6 was going to go for that. $10 for Britton. Not letting any pin go unfeasted upon. 109 and 8 for Jordan Britton. Sarah Wright currently working on a $10, and she'll miss it for a 9. 109 for Jordan Britton in the 8th. 83 in 8 for Sarah Wright. Those scores are confirmed, as I was just checking up there. Britton on an absolute tear right now. Head pin shot. Split 9. Not a split. 6 pinfalls late. Leaves the 4. Sarah Wright drops 8. Pins are starting to come alive here at Leda Lanes, or they have been coming alive, should I say, with Paul Metivier's 4-mark tear, and then Jordan Britton's double strike and a spare, and Jordan Britton just misses a little bit. Yeah, everyone cools off eventually, I guess. Sarah Wright, the wood deflects the ball. She leaves the 5. No mark for either bowler. Jordan Britton will take a 10. Oops. Sorry about that. Clicked the wrong button. Sarah Wright on the 5. Sarah Wright will kick the 5 for a 10. 93 and 9 for Wright. 119 and 9 for Britton. And we are still in sync with the automatic scoreboard at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. Jordan Britton has a season average of 108.9 in Class C, North Division 1. Home average 109.0, away average 108.8. So that's a 6 drop for Jordan Britton. He wasn't on the head pin that time. Sarah Wright also not on the head pin, leaves the right side 4 horseman pin still mixing though. 10 pin falls late. One, 2, 4, 7 for Britton. Can he run them down? Oh, he just misses by a little bit. Sarah Wright 1, 3, 6. She'll take the 3 and the 6 and leave the 1. Jordan Britton will take a 9. He almost misses the 2nd and gets the 3rd, but he leaves 1 on the deck, saving him from the PGS. Sarah Wright will take a 10. That will be the end of the 2nd game now for Jordan Britton and Sarah Wright. 128 for Jordan Britton, game 2. 2-game total at 263. He's almost at 300 already. And Sarah Wright, 2-game total at 204. Jordan Britton at a 135 in the first and 128 in the second. 263 2-game total, 204 2-game total for Sarah Wright with a 101 and a 103. Paladino. Not on the head pin. Drops, I think, 5. Looks like a sleeper back there, and that's a 5 fill for Metivier with a split. Paladino leaves the 7 and the 8. And Metivier ends his mark streak. Doesn't turn the Broken Eagle into a spare. And Paladino will take 8. And so will Paul Metivier. All right, so we are currently at 10 headpin shots for Sarah Wright of 20. That's a 50% percentage of headpins. Perfect. Perfect half, exactly. 5 splits. 12 for 20 on the headpin for Jordan Britton with 3 splits. 9 headpin shots for Paladino. Not count for 17. Metivier not on the headpin. He was 10 for 17 on the headpin with 4 splits. Paladino takes 1, leaves everything else. Metivier, pile of 5, takes the 1. Will he roll down to take the 10? It has the momentum. It goes. Paul Metivier with a fantastic spare. I think we'll have that on replay. That's a 10 box for Dominick Paladino. Let's look at this real quick. This is going to take a while because the headpin's going to walk down, and then the piece of wood's going to take the 10 ever so slowly. Look how slowly that goes. Spare for Paul Metivier. Paladino. To the right of the headpin, he drops 6, 7. Metivier will fill with 2. Slow-moving spare falls late. Or, doesn't fall late. I mean, the slow-moving spare with the late-falling previous pin netted him a 2 fill, but Paul Metivier saw the Dominick Paladino sees the opportunity and seizes it for a spare of his own. Metivier still working on getting pins. 7 box guaranteed. Shooting for a 10. Difficult 4, 5, 7. He'll take an 8. It's 101 and 8 for Metivier. That's 76 and a bonus in 8 for Paladino. Paladino to the right of the head pin. Drops 5. And fills with 5. And oh my goodness, Paul Metivier with a split. And that's an interesting split, if I may say so myself. 7, 8, 9, 10, 5, 6. Lots of wood. Home Depot down there. Paladino on the head pin. Looks like he's going to be left with the 2 and the 8. Wow, yeah. So how do you play that wood for Paul Metivier? I'd say maybe the right side of the cap of the frontmost wood. Question mark. Something kind of like that. Well, it didn't end up working out for Paul Metivier, unfortunately. And that's going to be a 9 box for Dominick Paladino. And a 10 box for Paul Metivier. 111 and 9 for Metivier and 90 and 9 for Paladino. Dominick Paladino 9 for 19 on the head pin with 7 splits. Metivier 11 for 19 on the head pin with 5 splits. Paladino fires first to the left of the head pin, drops 3. Metivier on the head pin. He's going to get a split for his efforts. 6, 8, 10. Dominick a little bit too full in the center. Leaves the 2 and the 6. Metivier on the 8, 6, and 10. He fires. Wants to get the sweep, but the pins don't cooperate. Dominick Paladino misses everything. $8 box for Dom, $10 box for Metivier. So 121 game 2 for Paul Metivier, 2 game total of 233. 98 game 2 for Dominick Paladino with a 2 game total of 188. So Paul Metivier currently with 4 points, up in the total by 45, taking the second game by 23. Sarah Wright, no points against Jordan Britton's 4, down to the total by 59, and Jordan Britton has the second game by 25. Sarah Wright, 7 drop, opening up. Britton's just off the head pin. Oh, and Sarah Wright against the diamonds. I thought it was a 7 drop. It was actually a 6 drop with a sleeper. Sometimes sleepers can be hard to see. No mark for either bowler. So Sarah Wright takes 9, and so will Jordan Britton. Sarah Wright has the number 7 most 10s in all of the ACST at 127. She has the 3rd highest total 10 boxes in ACST North. She has the 22nd highest Class C average at 102.3. And the number 3 Class C total 10s, again at 127. 7 drop and a split for Sarah Wright. 3, 9, 10. Jordan Britton was on the head pin. It was almost going to look like a 5 drop, but then it became an 8 drop, leaving the 1 of the 3. And Sarah Wright, no mark. Jordan Britton, no mark. But Sarah Wright will conclude with a 10 box, as will Jordan Britton, leaving no pins left on the deck. 19 after 2 for both of our bowlers. And those scores are confirmed. Sarah Wright, in her past 5 matches, she's taken 41 points, averaging 8.2 points per match. It's a good record, good positive record to have. Jordan Britton drops 9. Sarah Wright with a 6-drop split. 7-6-4-2 for Sarah Wright, and everything but the 7 for Jordan Britton. Sarah Wright tails off to the left a little bit too much. Leaves the 2 and the 6. No mark. Jordan Britton is going to be firing for a spare. And that's in the channel. That's going to be a fouled 9 box for Jordan Britton, unfortunately. Sarah Wright will take a 9 as well, though. So 28 after 3 for both bowlers in C-class. Jordan Britton's high single is 144 this season so far, and his high series is 593. 23 tens, 112 spares, 115 tens. For Jordan Britton, 49% perfect box percentage and 5,445 seasonal total pins. That's Sarah Wright with a late falling 7-drop split. Jordan Britton not on the head pin. He's left with a 1 and the 10. Nice lucky mix there. 5-9-7 for Sarah Wright. She's off to the left. Jordan Britton with the kick and the spare. First mark of this game for our bowlers. And Sarah Wright will take 8. See if we got that spare queued up for you. On the 1 and the 10, Jordan Britton, watch this ball on the head pin. To the left of the 1, he kicks it over to the 10. That was the spare for Jordan Britton. Sarah Wright leads off. She's off target to the right, but she gets a nice mix of 7, leaving the 1, the 7, and the 9. Jordan Britton's off to the right of the head pin, and he'll fill with 5. 4 horsemen right side and the 9. Sarah Wright on the 1, and the piece of wood sails right by the 7. She's left with the 7 and 9. Jordan Britton wants to run down the left horseman, but the 7 and the 9 are left. The 9 wiggles. Oh, and Sarah Wright, that's going to be a fouled 8. Jordan Britton will get the 10? Nope, not quite. He'll take a 9 for 52 after 5, and Sarah Wright's going to be at 44 after 5. And those scores are confirmed. 1 spare for Jordan Britton, 52 after 5. Midway through the 3rd game, Sarah Wright, no marks, 44 after 5. She went 4 for 5 on the head pin. Just difference in this match is 67 in the total for Britton and Wright, and 8 in the game. Paul Metivier. That's a split for Paul Metivier, 8-drop. Paladino. Rough opener. Not on the head pin, 6-drop. 5-drop, excuse me. Paul Metivier on the 3-10. Oh, and it almost goes. And Paul Metivier, that reaction. You saw the pins almost touch that 10 pin, but it didn't quite go. Dom, though, with a nice strong ball, he takes the spare. Metivier on the 10. We'll take the 10. Let's look at Dom's spare there. He just beans it. He's right on the head pin, and kaboom. There they all go. That was Dominick Paladino's spare. So Paul Metivier, in his past 5 matches, he's averaged 8.2 points per match, and he took 41. 7 drop for for Paul, I mean. And oh my goodness, and that's going to be, I believe, a 3 fill for Dominick Paladino. And yes, it will be. 7 drop for Paul Metivier, and he's just off the object pin. He just misses it. You saw that reaction. He was frustrated with that shot. But that's a spare on spare for Dominick Paladino. It's a 9 box for Metivier. Let's look at that replay. You see that frustrated shot from Paul, but then Dominick Paladino just blows up the remainder of the deck for another spare. 23 and a bonus after 2. Paul Metivier leads off. On the head pin, nearly a strike, drops 9, leaves the 6. Sort of a role reversal now. Dominick Paladino is kind of getting hot here, and that's a 4-fill for Dominick Paladino, unfortunately. Leaves a split, the spread eagle. The traditional academic spread eagle, 4-6, 2-3, 7-10. That's a spare for Paul Metivier. He's right on it. Dominick Paladino trying to convert the spread eagle for a spare. He takes 3 on the right, leaves the 3 on the left. So no mark. It wasn't for lack of trying. That's the right idea. You got to pick your favorite pocket and shoot it. That'll be an 8 box for Dominick Paladino. And just for fun, let's just take a look at that spare for Paul Metivier on the 6-pin. He was right on it. You see that? He was just right on it. Kabam. So Metivier is now filling a spare. Here's the conclusion to that spare. To the left of the head pin, and it's going to be a 6-fill, a merciful 6-fill. Paladino with our left side at half Worcester. So when you punch out the 2 and the 8, or just the 3 and the 9, that's a half Worcester. Metivier, he wants to get that kick, but he was just off target of the head pin. Dominick Paladino, same story. Metivier will clean up for a 10 box, though. A great out, 45 after 4. That'll be a 6 box for Dom. And just pausing for scores, 41 to 45. Yes, we are in sync. There was a brief issue down there, but they just corrected it. So Paul Metivier now, 5th box, opening pitch. It was a little off target to left side half Worcester. The release on that ball was interesting. Paladino on the head pin will be a strike. The 8-pin stays. I even thought it was leaning for a second, but it just ended up going untouched. Metivier versus the left side half Worcester, and he'll take a few off the right. Shave a few off. And Paladino will just barely miss the spare. Opportunity left on the table. Metivier takes a nice 10 box. So Metivier ends up getting the better of the 2 boxes there. 10 to Dom's 9. 50 after 5 for Dominick Paladino and 55 after 5 for Paul Metivier. And then Jordan Britton again is at 52 after 5. Sarah Wright at 44 after 5. Paul Metivier in the game, up in the game by 5 and in the total by 50. That is your score update. Exactly halfway through this match here on the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour. I'm Steve Kelly on the call for both the ACST and 3-ball spare conglomerate. It's great to have you along with us here on this Monday night. Jordan Britton, opening pitch. And he gets a few off the right. Meanwhile, Sarah Wright has a better head pin shot and a split 9-10. Jordan Britton, he's off to the right. He leaves the 1-2-4. No mark for Jordan Britton. Sarah Wright's on the 9 and the 10 with wood. And it goes. Sarah Wright right on it for a spare with the helpful wood. Jordan Britton will take 7. Let's see Sarah Wright's ball here. Again, watch that wood and the way that wood reacts. You see that? And she's just on the center of it, and she gets the kick off the sidewall to the point where everything goes. Jordan Britton will lead off first. He fires light ball down on the head pin. It's a mix of 9, a familiar shot for Jordan Britton on the 5-pin. Sarah Wright's on the head pin as well, and it's the exact same shot in a fill of 9. The kingpin for both of our bowlers. It's a duel of the single pin spares with slightly annoying wood that is all to the left of the 5 for both bowlers. Jordan Britton's wood is slightly turned less, and that deflected the ball away. You see the frustration on the reaction there. And Sarah Wright, oh my goodness, she just nudges the wood. Both bowlers missing their single pin spares. And Britton misses it on the 10 box attempt as well. Sarah Wright on the 5 on the retry for the 9 or the 10. 9 or 10 box. And it'll be a 10. And I believe that is our first situation where it's a Paul Grant special. And that's when miss the second, get the third. $1 donation to Candlepins per cancer per occurrence. $5 if it's on a mark. Excuse me, that's for a lemon drop. Doesn't make sense for a Paul Grant special if it's on a mark. Jordan Britton fires to the right of the headpin, and he tries to give a nice little kick, but it's a half Worcester plus. Half Worcester plus an additional pin. Sarah Wright, all the while. She's on the headpin. Drops 6, the right side check mark. Britton versus a pile of pins. It's on the 1-2 pocket, but a little bit too light. Leaves the 7-10-6. Sarah Wright's got the 5-6-3-10 that she's shooting at. Oh, and she almost defeats the check mark. She leaves the 10 on the deck. Britton will take what the audience describes as a solid 7. Better than a liquid 7, I guess. And Sarah Wright will take a 10. Sarah Wright is 17 for 28 on the headpin tonight with 9 splits. Britton 14 for 28 on the headpin with 3 splits tonight. Jordan Britton filling 78 bonus pins on marks, averaging 8.7 per fill. Sarah Wright totaling 27, averaging 6.8 per. Britton with a spread eagle 4 drop. The traditional academic spread eagle. Sarah Wright's on the headpin, and oh my goodness, we got dueling eagles down there. Caw. American Eagles. More of an Abercrombie person myself. And Jordan Britton is off to the right. Well, he takes 3. It was actually really where the ball should have gone, but he takes 3 and leaves 3. Sarah Wright. She's a little bit too full on the left side. Both bowlers taking opposite approaches. Jordan Britton will punch 1 and leave 2 for an 8 box. That puts Britton at 83 and 9. I think. We'll double check those scores. 7 for Sarah Wright for 90 and 9. And yes, those scores are confirmed now. Thank you, Dominic, for putting in the score correction there. All right, 1 box to go before we conclude the third game and assess the 3-game totals and where we're at for Jordan Britton and Sarah Wright. Jordan Britton with a 7-drop, 8-drop. Leaves the 2 and the 5. Sarah Wright all the while. So Jordan Britton is 16 for 30 with 4 splits tonight so far. Sarah Wright on the headpin and nearly a strike. Will the 10-pin go last? It's touched. You were hit. It doesn't go, unfortunately. Jordan Britton. Oh, and he's just a little bit too direct on the wood and direct on the 5. Leaves the 2. Sarah Wright's on the 10 for a spare. And she's just barely on. She barely stays on, but she'll stay on for the 10. Britton will take 9. Sarah Wright is at an even 100 plus a ball. And 92 for Jordan Britton is confirmed for a 3-game total of 355. That is confirmed. 304 so far for Sarah Wright, plus a bonus. She fires. Oh, and that reaction, I don't know about that, but it could have been worse. It was a 6 fill for 106 for Sarah Wright. That is a 3-game total of 310 for Sarah Wright. Jordan Britton's at a 3-game total of 355. Sarah Wright currently with 2 points to Jordan Britton's 4. Sarah Wright took the third game by 14, 106 to Jordan Britton's 92. Jordan Britton holds on to the total by 45, his 355 to Sarah Wright's 310. And now, to conclude the second half, for Dominick Paladino and Paul Metivier. Metivier opens up with a split. Paladino opens up with a split. Metivier opens up with a 5-drop. Paladino almost with a pretty backdoor spare, but can't quite get the 5-pin to play ball or play pin. And Paul Metivier, similar story with a 7. Paladino will clean up for a 10. And Metivier will miss his 7 for a 9. 64 and 6 for Metivier, 60 and 6 for Paladino. Those scores are confirmed. And the totals are confirmed too. So far, 248 for Paladino, 297 for Metivier. Dominick Paladino right on the head pin. Drops 9. Nearly a strike. Metivier not on the head pin, but it could be a 9 drop. The head pin is moved, but it doesn't fall. Paladino single pin spare. Here we go. And he's on it for a spare. And Metivier, he gets a spare as well. Spares for both of our bowlers all around. There was Dominick's spare. Just a single pin shot on the spare, but Paul Metivier's, look at that. He fires, and he's right on it. Well, he was right on the wood specifically. He didn't actually hit the head pin directly. And Dominick Paladino is filling with 5, not on the head pin. 4 horsemen and a sleeper. And that's a 5 fill for Paul Metivier. Paul Metivier has been getting the weirdest splits tonight. 7-8, 10, 4-3. Paladino, all in the sleeper stays. The 9 pin is the one that doesn't go. Metivier play the 3 pin in some way, but not that way. No mark for either bowler. But Dominick Paladino versus the 9. And he'll take the 10 for 85 and 8. And there is a piece of wood that is out of play, and as is the rules in candlepin bowling, if it crosses a certain line down there, and it is out of play, then it's out of bounds and must be removed. So we thank Jordan Britton for his services. In the rulebook, technically, it has to be a person not on the same team to remove the pin. When it's a 1v1 match, it doesn't matter. Just yourself can't go down. Just someone else has to. If it's in team play, you have to send someone from the opposite team to go retrieve the pin. Metivier will take a 7 after all said and done. Metivier 86 and 8. 85 and 8 for Dominick Paladino. It's a close third game for these two bowlers, just a difference of 1. Metivier holds on to the total by 46, however. Dominick Paladino fires first. Drops 4 after all is said and done. Left side diamond, 4, 5, 2, 8. Metivier is on the head pin a little bit too direct and a little bit too full, 4, 6, 3, 10. Paladino versus the diamond. The diamonds are hard to defeat, as Don Gillis on the Channel 5 show would always say, in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and onward through the streaming era. And Metivier will punch the 6, leaving the 3, the 4, and the 10. Paladino on the 2 and the 5. He'll take those out for a 10 box to janitor up the 9 box. Metivier will punch 1, and the 10 pin will jump a little bit, but it's still going to be an 8 box for Paul Metivier for 94 and 8. 94 and 9, excuse me. And 95 and 9 for Dominick Paladino. And those scores are confirmed. Someone just got a pretty crazy strike on lane 10. Paladino on the head pin, and interesting split after all is said and done. I think it was a 4 drop, bucket of 5 in the 10, and Metivier for the strike. Wants it to go. It was like a 9.5 drop. So Dominick Paladino's got the bucket of 5 on the left and the 10. And that was a head mid shot, if you could believe it or not. And he's just off target. Frustrated with that shot. He leaves 2 on the deck, no mark. Paul Metivier with what should have been a strike. He's on it for the spare. He kicks that pin into next week. An 8 box for Dominick Paladino. 104 in the ball for Paul Metivier, and 103 for 103 for Dominick Paladino, 104 in the ball for Paul Metivier. We're just pausing to clear a piece of wood before Paul Metivier throws his final bonus ball. We'll just see some debris flying down there, and he'll respot, and then we'll finish the third game and assess everybody's totals. But regardless, Metivier has already taken the third game against Dominick Paladino. He's just trying to regain a bit of the to hold on to more of the total now. Just pad on to it. Paul Metivier. It's going to be a 5 on the spare for a game of 109 and a 3-game total of 342 for Paul Metivier. Paladino with a rough night, 3-game total of 291 with that 103. Paul Metivier currently with 6 points, Dominick Paladino 0. Paul Metivier has a total by 51, 342 to Dominick Paladino's 291. Metivier took the third game by 6. And as you know, Jordan Britton, 92, Sarah Wright, 106. And we are going to move on to the next game here, the fourth game. Sarah Wright, not in the head pin. Jordan Britton with an 8 drop. Just playing catch up on the scoreboard here. Sarah Wright on the second ball. She leaves 3 on the deck, no mark. Jordan Britton, oh, he leaves a mark on the table as well. No mark to open up. Jordan Britton, 17 for 31 in the head pin with 4 splits. Sarah Wright, 19 for 31 in the head pin with 10 splits. And it's going to be a 9-box all around for both bowlers. Starting out. You're watching the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour on ACST TV. I'm Steve Kelly. On the call, it's great to have you along. Jordan Britton, talking about Jordan Britton, he's currently number 1 in Class C North Division 1. He's the number 3 seed overall in C North. Sarah Wright drops 7. Jordan Britton to the left of the head pin, half Worcester and a friend. Sarah Wright in the triangle. That's the 4-5-2. Jordan Britton has a 7th high class average in Class C North at 108.9. Sarah Wright's on the 4 and leaves the 2 and the 5. Jordan Britton has the 8th Class C total strikes at 23. He has the 7th Class C high series at 593. The number 3 Class C total spares at 112. And Jordan Britton just kicks a few down and leaves everything else on the deck. Sarah Wright will take a 9. Jordan Britton, 5-box or greater, and he'll clean up for a 10. Great janitorial work by Jordan Britton, 19 after 2. Sarah Wright, 18 after 2. Scores are confirmed. Jordan Britton has the number 8 Class C average spare fill, the number 8th best at 6.32. Number 6 Class C perfect box percentage at 49%. Sarah Wright drops 5, not in the head pin. Jordan Britton connects with the head pin, and 8 pins fall. The 4 and the 7 are left on the deck. Sarah Wright's got the 1, the 2, the 7, the 8, and the 10. And she's right on it. Will it go? Oh, the 8 pin. 8 pin just barely escapes. And Jordan Britton on the 4 and the 7. He also misses his mark. Both bowlers with missed marks. Sarah will take a 10, and so will Jordan Britton. 2 10s. And both bowlers. So Jordan Britton, after 3 boxes, is at 29, and Sarah Wright is at 28. Sarah Wright with 1 head pin shot this game. Jordan Britton with 2. Jordan Britton has the 7th Class C total 10 boxes at 115. And Jordan Britton has the 7th Class C fewest average pins left per match at 44.2. Sarah Wright opens on the head pin with a 6 drop, the 7-10-6-3. Jordan Britton's on the head pin, 7, just a 7. 10 pin falls late. We got Sarah Wright on the 7-10-6-3. She fires. Oh, and she's just a little off target. She gets the 3 pins on the right, but the 7 pin is left on the deck. Jordan Britton on the 7 pin for a spare. And he's got it. That's a mark for Jordan Britton. He's getting things started back up here. 39 after 4 plus a ball with that mark. Sarah Wright on the 7 pin for the 10 box. She'll take it. That's her second 10 box in a row, and the second 10 box of the game for Sarah Wright. 38 after 4 for Sarah Wright. 39 a bonus after 4 for Jordan Britton. And again, Paul Metivier with a staggering 12 spares this match. Far and ahead in the lead, even against Jordan Britton's 7 spares. But Jordan Britton is the only one with strikes. He has 3 strikes so far. Everyone else has 0, a goose egg. Sarah Wright's on the 1-3 pocket, drops 6, drops 7. Left side triangle for Sarah Wright. Jordan Britton on a mark. Awkward pitch. The 1-2, 8-9-5. It's a 5 fill for Jordan Britton. Sarah Wright, though, will take a spare on the triangle. Excellent delivery. Jordan Britton, all the while. He's just off target, leaves the head pin. Piece of wood coming towards the head pin, but it won't take it. Sarah Wright is at 48 and a bonus after 5 with 3 head pin shots and 1 split. Jordan Britton has 3 head pin shots and no splits this half. And he'll take a 9 for 53 after 5. Let's look at Sarah Wright on the triangle and the spare once more. Take a look at that. She no wood, and she's right on the pocket and takes that. So 53 after 5 for Jordan Britton and 48 in a bonus after 5 for Sarah Wright. That is where we stand right now here at the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour. And now we're going to go back to Dominick Paladino and Paul Metivier. So Paladino will lead off. Paul Metivier will lead off with a 6 drop. Paladino drops 8, leaves the 6 and the 10. And Metivier takes the head pin hard and leaves the 7, 8, 10. Paladino's on the 6, 10. Paladino calls an audible, leaves 1 on the deck. Metivier also off target. 8 box for Metivier, 9 box for Paladino. So Paladino is 16 for 31 on the head pin with 10 splits. Metivier is 17 for 31 on the head pin with 9 splits. Very close in both head pins and splits tonight. But Paul Metivier, the difference here is that he is totaling far more in fills, totaling 68 in fills, averaging 5.7 per mark. Paladino totaling 24 in fills, averaging 4.8 per mark. The difference has been fills, particularly for Paul Metivier tonight. Just had to remove a ball from the lane. Paul Metivier drops 8, 7, 10. Paladino drops 8, 4, 10. Both bowlers on splits. And both bowlers with some wood to help them. Metivier fires on the 7. And it's in the gutter. That's going to be a -1 and a foul. Right idea, just crossed over far too much. Paladino misses everything. And Paul Metivier takes a 9. And Paladino with a rough 8 box. 17 after 2 for Paladino, 17 after 2 for Metivier. Or excuse me, 8 box for Metivier. That's right, I forgot about the foul. 16 after 2 for Metivier. Although, all right, on the scoreboard has a 7 for the first box for Paul Metivier. Again, it's up to the bowlers to keep track of that. So, following the bowlers, 15 after 2 for Metivier. Metivier not on the head pin, drops, has a 6-pack on the right side, and leaves the 6-pack. Again, 6 pins left on deck. We ID at Leda Lanes. Speaking of ID and carding, check out Kegler's Den at Leda Lanes. Fantastic bar, great food, and that's a spare for Paladino. We're going to get a replay of that in just a moment here. Paul Metivier on the 6-pack. And, oh my goodness, that's a 5 box for Paul Metivier. So let's see Dominick's spare here. Kind of a pinball action spare. He fires and he plays the wood and gets the bounce off the sidewall for the spare. All right, so Dominick Paladino with a merciful spare in the 3rd. Paladino is at 27 after 3 in a bonus. That's confirmed. 20 after 3 for Metivier. That is confirmed. Again, it's up to the bowlers to maintain their records down there. I'm just following them, and oh my goodness, that's going to be a 1 fill for Dominick Paladino. Something was way off on that release. He whispered he rushed. Metivier, he was on the 1, 7, 10, 6. He connects with the 1, the 7, leaves the 6 and the 10. And Dominick leaves the 1 and the 8 in the deck. Paul will get deflected by the wood and defeated. 8 box and a 9 box for Paladino. So Paladino actually kind of came away somehow on top with that. The 1 fill in the 9 box, he actually kind of technically came out with a better advantage despite the spare. Even though Metivier did have a 5 box in the 3rd, so I guess it all kind of sort of worked out. 37 after 4 for Paladino, 28 after 4 for Paul Metivier. Paul Metivier having a hard time right now. 6 drop. So is Paladino. He's off to the right. Both bowlers just kind of struggling right now. Paul Metivier is on the head pin, but just a little bit too full. Leaves the 6 on deck. And Dominick Paladino is off target as well. Leaves the 1 and the 3. Paul Metivier is shooting at the 6 for the 10 box. He'll get the 10 box for 38 after 5 and 46 after 5 for Dominick Paladino. Paul Metivier remarks, that's a great half. And yeah, that's certainly a half. So 46 and 38 is confirmed. Just want to make sure that was correct, and it is. All right, folks. So we're going to switch back to Jordan Britton and Sarah Wright here on the Atlantic Can Open Singles Tour. Jordan Britton. Sorry, I'm laughing at something being said off screen, and I absolutely cannot repeat it on the air, but oh my goodness. Jordan Britton drops 6. Sarah Wright gets a half Worcester on the left side and takes 2 on her spare. Jordan Britton is on the head pin on the second ball that time, but he doesn't get the kick on the 4. Sarah Wright's on the left side half Worcester. She fires. Oh, and sails through the same void. The second ball is the same as the first. Jordan Britton takes a 9 for 62 and 6. Sarah Wright hoping to get more than 2, and she will get a grade out of 7, all things considered. So Jordan Britton with 19 for 36 on the head pin tonight with 4 splits. Sarah Wright 22 for 36 on the head pin with 11 splits. Jordan Britton in the lead, totaling 83 and fills, averaging 8.3 per mark. Sarah Wright totaling 35, averaging 5.8 per mark. Jordan Britton with a split, dropping 5, diamond right in the 7. And Sarah Wright to the left of the head pin drops 2. Britton on the spare. He's just a little bit off to the right. And Sarah Wright, she's just slightly a hair off the head pin to the right, and she leaves the 1, the 2, and the 9. Both bowlers missing their marks. Jordan Britton, he'll take a 7 box after all said and done. The 3, the 9, and the 7 stay on the deck. Sarah Wright will take the 1 and the 9 and leave the 2. It will be a 9 box for Sarah Wright. 66 and 7 for Sarah Wright. And 69 and 7 for Jordan Britton. Sarah Wright currently 3 for 7 on the head pin with 1 split this game. Jordan Britton 4 for 7 on the head pin with 1 split this game. Jordan Britton fires first. He has 1 mark this game. He's to the right of the head pin. He gets a nice mix of 8. 1-9. That wasn't a head pin shot, so that was really merciful. Sarah Wright to the right of the head pin as well. Drops 5, 4 horsemen left in the 9. Jordan Britton versus the 1 and the 9 for a spare. And he'll take that out for a spare. Jordan Britton with a nice shot that was just full at the right time. Sarah Wright will take the sleeper out and leave the 4 horsemen left. It's Sarah Wright on the 1, 2, 4, 7 for a 10 box. Wright will run down the 4 horsemen for a 10 box. That was a great, merciful 10 box. Merciful apparently is the operative word today. But look at Jordan Britton's spare. He has to be just a full enough shot. The ball stayed on target to take the sleeper. So this is Jordan Britton's fill on his spare. Britton's to the right of the head pin. Drops 7, gets a nice fill of 7. Despite not being on target, he's getting decent mixes. And Sarah Wright to the right of the head pin again. Just needs to take a step to the left or something. She drops 5. 4 horsemen left in the 10 this time. Jordan Britton on the 1, 2, 4 for a spare. And it goes. That's another spare for Jordan Britton. He's getting it back on target here. Sarah Wright will also take a spare. All right, we're going to see if I can play this replay for both of them. Jordan Britton's I did take a snapshot of, but just missed the window. But Sarah Wright's spare, look at that. There it goes. That one was kind of the more impressive spare anyway, so that was Sarah Wright's spare. Jordan Britton, he's on the head pin. He drops 9. He fills with 9. Sarah Wright on her spare fill. She's on the 1-2 pocket this time. She drops 8. So Jordan Britton is on the 4 pin for a spare. Single pin shot. He fires. Oh, he's just off. We're frustrated with that one. Sarah Wright in the 6-10. She's off as well. Both bowlers missing their spares. Britton for a 10. He'll miss the second, get the third. That's a PGS 10 box. 115 and 10 for Britton. Sarah Wright in the 6 pin for a 10 box. She'll take it as well for a 10. So that's 115 and 10 for Britton and 104 and 10 for Sarah Wright. So Jordan Britton with that 2-mark tear at the end, he'll take the 4th game 115 for a 4-game total of 470, and Sarah Wright 4-game total of 414 with a 2-mark 104. Jordan Britton kind of salvaging it towards the end with a spare 7 and a spare 9. Again, his fills have really been carrying him this match. So we're now going to say hello again to Paul Metivier and Dominick Paladino down there on the lanes. Dominick Paladino is on your right. He drops 8 on the head pin. Paul Metivier, he drops 9 on the head pin. Both bowlers with head pin shots. Dominick Paladino in the gray shirt on your right. He's off target to the left. Paul Metivier is on the 7 pin. Single pin shot for a spare. And, oh my goodness, both bowlers missing their spares. You know, it's one thing to say if bowlers will play down to one another, but it seems they're both Dom and Paul are really having some trouble tonight. Paladino will take an 8, Metivier will take a 10. 48 after 6 for Metivier, that's rough. And 54 after 6 for Paladino. Rough is all I can say about that. Who let the dogs out? Holy moly. Paladino fires. To the right of the head pin, he drops 7. 1, 2, 4. And Paul Metivier to the right of the head pin, he drops 5. 4 horsemen left in the 9. Paladino. Oh, and he's just a little too full on that head pin. Leaves the 4 and the 7. Metivier, it's a hard ball. But will he get the kick? Oh, he runs down the left side 4 horsemen, and the piece of wood just dances in front of the sleeper, but leaves the 9. Paladino will take 10. 64 and 7. Metivier will take 9 for 57 and 7. $19 for 37 head pins for Paladino tonight. 11 splits. 19 for 37 head pin with 10 splits for Paul Metivier. Very, very similar stats. Again, the bowlers are neck and neck for better or for worse. That's a 7 drop for Paladino. 7-5-2. And Paul Metivier is on the head pin as well with a split. It could be a 9 drop. It will be a 9 drop, so not a split. He's left with a 2. Paladino's got the 2, the 5, and the 7 he's shooting at. And will he get the spin? The spin doesn't go far back enough to take the 7. Paul Metivier is on the 2. That's more sure to go. And it does. That's a spare for Paul Metivier. Paladino, he'll take a 10 to clean up. 67 and a bonus for Paul Metivier. 74 for Paladino at the end of the 8th. We're just about to close out the 4th game here at the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour. I'm Steve Kelly on the call for 3-ball spare. It's great to have you along with us. That's a 7 drop for Dominick Paladino. 5-6-10. Paul Metivier is to the right of the head pin. And it's going to be a 4 fill for his efforts. Paladino 5-6-10. Oh, and he sails right through the void in the center. Paul Metivier. Oh, he's on the object pocket, and it goes. That's a beautiful spare for Paul Metivier. He needed that one. We'll get a replay of that in just a little bit here. Dominick will take a 9 box. Let's get a replay of what just happened there. I think Oh, I'm sorry. My mistake. I pressed the wrong button. I really wanted that replay too. Oh well. Well, we're just going to have to rewind to come back to that later. I pressed Control-Shift-G instead of Control-Shift-R. My hotkey. Got mentally confused there. That's a 7 drop and a split for Paladino. That's the 5-7-8. Metivier to the right of the headpin, filling a spare with 6. For 87 after 9 for Paul Metivier. JJ suggests the 5-pin to Dom. And I guess that's probably the right idea. Just don't even go for the wood, but it starts with hitting it. It's a miss for Paladino. Metivier, he plays the 3 on the left, but can't kick back to the 10. Dominick takes 1 for an 8 box. Metivier will take 9. That's the end of regulation for the 4th. And that, with the 4th game, is 91 for Dominick Paladino and 96 for Paul Metivier. Paladino falls by 5 to Paul Metivier in the 4th. 4-game total of 382 for Dominick Paladino. 4-game total of 438 for Paul Metivier. Paul Metivier has a total by 56 and took the 4th game by 5. Meanwhile, Jordan Britton has 6 points to Sarah Wright's 2. Jordan Britton took the 4th game by 11. And we're going down to the 5th game here. Bowlers wasting no time. Sarah Wright's got a split, a banana split. Jordan Britton with a split of his own. And the banana split is when you take the 7-10-4-6. That's called the banana split. And Sarah Wright will consume half of that banana split. Jordan Britton's got the 4, the 10, the 2, and the 8. And he gets a spin, but leaves the 8 and the 10. And Sarah Wright, oh no, that'll be a fouled 8 box for Sarah Wright. And Jordan Britton will take a 9. So Jordan... Sarah Wright with 8 after 1. Jordan Britton 9 after 1. So Sarah Wright on lane 16 here at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. On the 1-2 pocket, a light hit, drops 6. That's the 5, the 3, the 9, and the 10 for Sarah Wright. Jordan Britton is to the right of the headpin. It's another 4 horsemen left in the 9. We've seen a lot of those shots tonight. A lot of our bowlers are just... Something is just going on where they're just getting a lot of 4 horsemen left and 4 horsemen and a sleeper. Sarah Wright, though, with a spare. I'm going to press the correct replay hotkey to save that one this time. That'll be a 9 drop for Jordan Britton on the 2nd ball. Sarah Wright has a spare. It's 18 after 2 and a ball. We'll cue that replay up in a second. That'll be a 9 for Jordan Britton. Let's get the replay going here. Sarah Wright, look at that spare. Right on it, and there it goes. Sarah Wright with a spare. So Sarah Wright will lead off. She's going to be filling a spare here on lane 16 at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. On the Atlantic Hamilton Singles Tour, this Class B and C doubleheader tonight. Sarah Wright on the 1-3 pocket will be a strike. Maybe the 10 pin is the only pin that's left. So it's going to be a 9 fill, a great fill. Jordan Britton is on the head pin. It's going to be a 6 drop. It's going to be a 3, 6, 9, 10 for Jordan Britton, and Sarah Wright is on the 10 pin for a spare. Let's see if Sarah Wright can take this single pin out for a spare without fouling. There's 2 pieces of wood in the gutter. That's what I'm worried about. We'll see what happens. Sarah Wright fires. She sends it, and it's a spare. 2 spares in a row for Sarah Wright, 37 and a bonus after 3. Jordan Britton will mow down the 4 for a spare. So here's Jordan Britton again, in case you missed it. And there it goes. Sarah Wright's working on a 2nd spare in a row now. Sarah Wright coming alive here again in the 5th. She fires just to the left of the head pin. Oh no, it's a 2 fill and a half Worcester on the left side. Jordan Britton to the left of the head pin. He gets a decent mix of 7 and a 7 fill. That's 35 after 3 for Jordan Britton with that spare 7. Sarah Wright with a spare 2's at 39 after 3. Sarah Wright on the 1-3 pocket for the half Worcester conversion. She leaves the 4, the 5, the 7. No mark for Sarah Wright. Jordan Britton on the 1, the 3, and the 7, and ooh, gets a weird curl around of pins. No mark either. Sarah will take 7. That puts her at 46 after 4. Jordan Britton will take 1, leave 1, 9 box, 44 after 4 for Jordan Britton. Paul Metivier with a staggering 14 spares and no strikes. Jordan Britton, 3 strikes, 10 spares. Several bowlers with several superlatives tonight. Sarah Wright in the 1-3 pocket. Drops 7, the 7-8, 4. Left triangle. Jordan Britton with the 9 drop, leaves the 10. Time to see what can happen here. I think both of these can go for spares. Let's see what happens. Sarah Wright will fire first. And it goes. That's a spare for Sarah Wright. Jordan Britton has some difficult wood to deal with down there right now. Let's see what happens on the 10 pin with wood. And he, well, who needs hitting the pin directly? As long as you got the wood in the sidewall action, it'll go. But let's look at Sarah's 7-8-4 shot once again and take a look at that. Bam, there it goes. And here's at the half, Jordan Britton 54 in a bonus after 5. Sarah Wright 56 in a bonus after 5. And we're moving right along to Paul Metivier and Dominick Paladino already. Paul Metivier on the right with a left side half Worcester. Dominick Paladino on the left. He's on the head pin, drops 9. And Metivier on the Worcester. He leaves the 6 and the 10. That's it. And Paladino starts out right with a spare on the singles pin, 5 pin. It goes. That's a spare for Dominick Paladino. Paul Metivier for the 10 box, and he'll take the 10. He'll clean up. That's janitorial duty for Paul Metivier with that 10 box. Dominick Paladino is 23 for 41 in the head pin. That's about 50% with 13 splits. Paul Metivier is just under 50%, 20 for 41 in the head pin with 11 splits. Paul Metivier has totaled 78 in bonus pins on marks, averaging 5.6 per mark. Dominick has totaled 25, averaging 3.6 per mark. 7 drop and a split for Metivier. Paladino is not on the head pin, but fills with 6. 1, 2, 8, 9. 7, 10, 6 for Paul Metivier. Will he get the kick? He'll get the kick for a spare. We'll get that replay queued up in just a moment. Oh, and poor Dom takes 1 and leaves 3. Dominick having a real rough night tonight. He'll take an 8. Let's look at Paul Metivier's spare once again. Look at that fire, and he gets the kick. And the follow-up to that spare will be viewed immediately, and that's a bucket of 5 for Paul Metivier. Fill of 5. Dominick Paladino, 5, 6, 3, 9, 10. Or Paul Metivier, 5, 6, 3, 9, 10. Dominick Paladino drops 7, 5, 6, 2. Bucket of 5 for Paul Metivier. He's just off. He takes the 5, leaves nothing else. 3, 6, 9, 10 for Paul Metivier. Dominick Paladino on the triangle leaves the 4. We've seen several bowlers make the triangle for a spare tonight. This was one of those actually rare occurrences where we haven't seen that go. 10 box for Paul Metivier, cleaning up. Janitorial duty. He hasn't missed a pin tonight so far, in this game at least, I mean. 35 after 3 for Metivier, 33 after 3 for Dominick Paladino. Dominick Paladino has a season average of 114.55. He has a home average of 108.8 and a away average of 120.3. This is an away game for Dominick Paladino. His home house is Riverwalk Lanes. That's a split for Paul Metivier, 7 drop, 3, 9, 10. And that's a 7 drop for Dominick Paladino as well. Dominick Paladino has a high single of 151, a high series 616. 34 strikes, 100 spares, 86 tens for Dominick Paladino with a 54% perfect box percentage and a 4,582 seasonal total pins. That's a spare for Dominick Paladino. And that'll be an 8 for Paul Metivier. Let's look at Dominick's spare right there, though. Look at that. Bam. It all goes. 43 and a bonus for Dominick Paladino and 43 after 4 for Paul Metivier. Dominick Paladino is number 2 in Class B North Division 3, and he's the number 5 seed in B North overall. Metivier fires. So left of the head pin, he drops 5. Metivier gets a 6 on his fill. Left side diamond. It was a head pin shot. Paul Metivier 13679. Here he goes. He fires for the spare. Will he get the kick for the pin action for the spare? He leaves the 3, no mark. Paladino that is defeated by the diamond again. Sleeper pin stays. No mark for either bowler. Metivier takes 9. Paladino 9. 58. Oop, that is the half. So 58 after 5 for Dominick Paladino and 52 after 5 for Paul Metivier. So those scores are all confirmed. I'm going to say hello to Jordan Britton and Sarah Wright for the last time tonight. The final 5 boxes for our 2 bowlers here tonight. Jordan Britton will lead off on the right lane of the 2-lane pair. Jordan Britton fires first. And that will be, on his spare, a 6 fill. Sarah Wright's off to the left of the head pin. It's a fill of 4 for Sarah's mark. 60 after 5 for Wright, 60 after 5 for Britton. They're tied. Britton's a little bit too full on the head pin, unfortunately. Leaves the 4. Sarah Wright, thin hit on the head pin. She leaves the 6, 7, 9. Jordan Britton will get a 10. Clean up. 70 and 6. Sarah Wright will nearly get a 10, but she'll leave the 7 for a 9 box. 69 and 6 for Sarah Wright. Recently, Sarah Wright faced Wintraft in round 13 at Leda Lands in a home game. With a 504 series, she took 9 points with an 89, 101, 126, 95, and 93 with a 1 strike, 9 spares, and 7 tens. She had 27 headpin shots for 50 with 14 splits. And that's Jordan Britton with a 9 drop and a 10 drop for Jordan Britton. And Sarah Wright with the same thing.
Hi, Sarah.
Strikes all around for both of our bowlers. Look at that. Sarah Wright takes them all down. A strike for Sarah Wright and a strike for Jordan Britton. One thing I'm going to have to figure out is how to get 2 quick replays in succession to play back. I can't do it if I click around a lot, but we want to keep the action moving fast. But Jordan Britton drops 2 on his first ball of the strike fill so far. Sarah Wright on the 1-2 pocket will be a double. Maybe. Nope, 7 drop. Split. 5, 3, 10. Jordan Britton to finish his strike fill. It looks like it's going to be an 8 fill. Oh, and Sarah will take a 9 fill on her strike. Powerful fills for both of our bowlers. Britton will take 8 for 96 and 8. And Sarah Wright is still holding on to the lead in this game narrowly. Oh, and she'll take a 9 for 97 and 8. She's ahead by 1 in this game. So, folks, we're starting to wind down here, so I want to say a couple of thanks to our ACST committee members, including our Commissioner Danny Finn, Class B Treasurer Corey Lisi, Class C Treasurer Anthony Karen, Statistician Micah Imperato, Steve Abodeely for some of our B-roll and photography, stabodeely.com if you want to check his stuff out. Viewers like you for always coming out to watch this content, always appreciate you. And Sarah Wright for the strike. Will she get another strike? She'll drop 9 and leave the 6. Jordan Britton working on a pile of pins. He's on the head pin that time, but he leaves the bucket of 5 on the right. No mark for Jordan Britton. Sarah Wright shooting at the 6-pin for a spare. It should be a layup. We'll see what happens. The wood is in a favorable position. Oh, and she misses it entirely. Oh my goodness. It was all set up, and sometimes that's just the pressure just gets to you. Sometimes you just throw a ball and you black out. No, neither bowler with a mark here. So both bowlers for 9 boxes or 10 boxes. Sarah Wright, or sorry, Jordan has a 9. Sarah will take a 10. 107 for Wright, 105 for Britton in the 9th. Those scores are confirmed, in case you're wondering. Here comes Jordan Britton. Last opening ball, and he's off to the right this time. Center triangle and the back left candlepin corner. Sarah Wright's off to the right of the head pin, drops 5, 1, 2, 4, 7, 9. For the mark, Jordan Britton. He's on it, and will he take the 7? Will the 7 fall? The 7 is touched. It doesn't go. It was a great bid. Sarah Wright on the head pin, and no similar story for Sarah Wright. She leaves 2 on the deck. So to finish things off, the final ball for Jordan Britton will be a 10 box. That will be 115 in 10 for Jordan Britton, and a 5-game total of 585, nearly a 600 for Jordan Britton. Sarah Wright will be a 10. Oh my goodness, that pin really wants to fall, but it won't. That'll be a 9 for Sarah Wright, and 116. She wins by 1. 1 pin for Sarah Wright. 116 to Jordan Britton's 115. Sarah Wright will have a 5-game total of 530. Jordan Britton with a 5-game total of 585. Sarah Wright wins the 5th game by 1. So Sarah Wright, it will take 4 points tonight. Jordan Britton will be taking 10 as he took the total. So that's the story for Sarah Wright and Jordan Britton tonight. Both bowlers bowling fantastically tonight. We're going to open with Dominick Paladino and then Paul Metivier. Paladino with an 8 drop to start out. Paul Metivier on the head pin. He drops 7 with a split. 5, 10, 9. Paladino on the 2-4. And that was a misfire for Paladino. He's having a rough night tonight. But Metivier, he's right on the wood. The operative wood for a spare. Paladino will take 9. 67 and 6 for Paladino. 62 and a ball from Metivier. Let's take a look at that shot. Fortunately, that missed for Paladino right there. But Metivier, look at that. He redlines that wood, and it all goes. All right, so Metivier is filling a spare. With 4 boxes to go, again, I want to thank you for watching. I hope this was a pleasant viewing experience for you. If you enjoyed what you saw and want to see more, I invite you to strike, comment, and subscribe. Subscribe to this channel. Subscribe to 3 Ball Spares. Subscribe to the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour on Facebook and YouTube. That's a split for Paladino and an 8 drop. Metivier on his fill. Fills with 9. The 5 pin is all that's standing. Paladino on the 3-10. He's just the left. Or sorry, this yes, the 3-10. He's just the left of the 3. And Metivier single pin spare on the 5, and he misses too. Calls an audible on that one. But could be just fatigue at this point. That's an 8 box for Paladino. And Metivier on the 5 pin for the 10 box. And I believe that's going to be a Paul Grant special where you miss the second, get the third as a $1 donation to Candlepins for Cancer per occurrence. That is the Paul Grant special. Just quickly clearing a pin down there. That wasn't a fair ball or anything. Oh yeah, before we go, we're at Leda Lanes tonight. Oh, sorry. Dom really wanted to throw that really fast. That's a 6-pack for Dominick Paladino. So I'll just tell you verbally. We're at Leda Lanes, 36 lanes, all wood approaches, all wood lanes, automatic scoring. Kegler's Den, fantastic food and drink. There's poker, karaoke, billiards, and cornhole. And it hosted, Leda Lanes hosted the ICC Men's World's Championship in 2024. And Metivier wasn't on a head pin, drops Drops 6, and he missed his spare. Both ballers missing their spares here. Paladino on the 3-6-7. And he punches 1, leaves 3. Metivier in the 3-6-7. For the 10 box. 7 for Paladino. And 8 for Metivier. 82 and 8 for Paladino. 89 and 8 for Paul Metivier. So while we have a free moment, yes, so Leda Lanes is on Amherst Street in Nashua, New Hampshire. It's where Candlepin Stars and Strikes used to be filmed in its final seasons up to 2004. And that's not a headpin shot for Paladino. It's a 6-drop. Paul Metivier is on the headpin there with a split, the 4-10-2. And Paladino, 1-2-4-8. It's on the headpin. It curls around. That's just the kind of ball where... It's one thing Matt Susie says. He goes, there comes a point where you only have control of the ball in candlepin bowling up to a certain point. You release it, and then it's out of your hands. And he says, you know, it's quote-unquote the simplest game in the world, as Matt Susie once said. And that's a 9-box for Paul Metivier, 98 and 9 for Metivier, 90 and 9 for Dominick Paladino. And it appears to be 89. I'll have to figure out what happened there. Oh, it is corrected now. Okay, now we're back in sync. 1 ball and one box to go. Again, I thank you. I'm Steve Kelly for the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour and 3-ball spare. And there's also a bunch of other things to check out. There's also Candlepin Bowling Network, of course, sister channel. Go check out Candlepin Bowling Network on Facebook and YouTube. There's also Candlepin Corner. We're all friends here, of course. Check all those channels out. And I'll show you a couple slides here in a little bit as well, just as we close out. Split for both bowlers, and Paul Metivier will take a spare. Paladino will take 8. Let's see if I can get the replay in there. There's Paul Metivier's spare here on the 4-6-3. Look at that go. Or sorry, not the 4-6-3. You know, Paul Metivier's two split spare. 2-pin split spare. Oh, words are hard at this this point in the night. We're just waiting on a final spot, and then we'll be done for the night. But yes, check out Candlepin Bowling Network on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook. Candlepin Corner on YouTube. There's at Candlepin Bowling on TikTok. The Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour page on Facebook. And that's a 6-pill for Paul Metivier. And that is going to be it. So that's the end of the game for Paul Metivier and Dominick Paladino. Paul Metivier 114, Dominick Paladino 98, 480 4-game total for Dominick Paladino, 552 5-game total for Paul Metivier. Sorry, 5-game total, not 4-game total. So we're going to compute the final stats here. Give me one moment while I send the results to the main computer. Boop, 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 boop. Here they are. Here's the final stats. Paul Metivier will take 14 points to Dominick Paladino 0. Paul Metivier with 552, a 5-game total. Dominick Paladino with a 5-game total of 480. Jordan Britton with a 5-game total of 589 to Sarah Wright's 530. Jordan Britton will take 10 points to Sarah Wright's 4. And in terms of the headpin percentage tonight, Jordan Britton is the king of the headpins, 50%. 25 for 50. Excuse me, no, that was the perfect box percentage, excuse me. 56% headpin percentage goes to Dominick Paladino, 28 for 50. And actually, Sarah Wright. Man, you know what? I'm not good at reading numbers tonight. Sarah Wright has a 60% headpin percentage, 30 for 50. That is really good, actually. And anyways, we'll stop talking about those. You can see the numbers on the screen. Paladino will move to 74 and 52. Paul Metivier will move to 67 and 45. Jordan Britton will go to 98 and 56. And Sarah Wright will go to 71 and 83 for their new win-loss records after today. Anyways, that should be it for us at Leda Lanes. For Dominick Paladino, Paul Metivier, Jordan Britton, and Sarah Wright, I've been Steve Kelly. It's been great to have you along with us. Check out Candlepin Bowling Network, Candlepin Corner. There's Candlepin Bowling on TikTok, the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour, and 3-ball spare. There's Candlepin Chat, Alley Chat, and a couple other of YouTube channels you can check out as well. And there's also Candlepins for Cancer. Check out candlepins4cancer.com as well for a great cause you can either donate to if you want to sign up for the tournaments. Go to candlepins4cancer.com for details. And last but not least, also check out 3 Ball Spare on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. Would appreciate if you subscribe to that. That's my channel for full matches, shorts, highlights, and more. Anyways, I've been Steve Kelly, and for everyone here, and for Candlepin Bowling, go to candlepin.org and click Go Bowling to find your nearest center. We'll see you at the next Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour.